Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May Sydney City Bonsai Club meeting. And we've got two new things right here, which I won't embarrass them by introducing them yet. But I've just got a few announcements, some important ones and some others. I can't differentiate between the two. We've got, firstly, Chris and Rebecca have sent their apologies. Any other apologies? Chris is fortunately travelling in the world somewhere, I'm not sure where, so yeah. And Rebecca wasn't feeling well. Just a couple of reports. Since the last meeting, we've had the Easter show. And for those, how many people here got to see the bonsai display? Quite a few, that's good.
John, I didn't realise that I actually went to the Easter show. It was only on for a couple of days.
Yes, 2 days.
I wasn't sure.
You went on the wrong way?
Yeah. I tried.
Well, you remember next year.
I will.
It used to be on for a week, but you know, the Royal Agricultural Society in their wisdom changed the format a fair bit. They reduced a lot of the things down. Unfortunately, the bonsai display, the competition is on for 2 days. And that's all that's there now. We used to have a stand, but we don't have it anymore. But it was nevertheless, I think, quite a good success. We had 5 people in the club put trees in, and 3 of them got prizes. Hey!
Lee, who's not here tonight, always gets a prize. She didn't get the best tree of the show this year, but she nevertheless. And I was going to ask her if she was here how many prizes she got. I think she got 3, but I'm not certain about that. But she put in about 5 trees and got 3 prizes. Good on her. Chris and Brian also got prizes. How many prizes did you get, Brian? Excellent. Well done. Yeah, so to the prize winners, well done. I would encourage more people to. It's a very easy show, as Chris explained over the last couple of meetings. You can put a tree in for the cost of less than a ticket, and you get a ticket. So it sort of costs nothing to put as many trees in as you want. If you put a few trees in, you've got a better chance of winning a prize. But it was, I don't want to decry from the quality of the trees that were in, because there were some very nice trees, and I always get inspired by going to those sorts of shows and seeing how good the trees are that are in. Gary Ubergang won the show prize, which is the Sue Brennan Award, which this club donates for the 2nd year in a row. I thought his tree last year was better than the tree that won this year, but it's still well deserved, and he has agreed to come along and give another talk sometime later in the year to the club, so that'll be good. I thought his talk last time was very good. We had quite a few volunteers. The people who volunteered to come and help man the stand and look after the trees were Chris, who did the organising anyway, Brian, David, Ahmed, James, Neville, Marianne, and myself. And if I missed anybody, I thought that was a pretty good roll-up, and it's good fun. For those who did it was good fun, wasn't it, Marianne? We also had the Illawarra Bonsai show. I wanted to get to it and didn't. My apologies for those people I said I'd get there and didn't. How many people here went? Oh, more people went to the Illawarra Bonsai show than went to the Royal Easter show. That's good. I was saying to somebody earlier, I think it's the best bonsai show in Sydney. I think it's better than I hope I'm not offending anybody when I say this, I think it's better than the School of Bonsai show, which is later in the year out at the Neski Nursery. It's a very good show. Anybody want to say a few words about it?
They had some lovely trees there. They seem to have a fall theme to it. They seem to scatter bark and that. What they do well is set up and display so that they vet the trees that are going in, so they know that they're good quality, and they then also supply, I guess, layouted stands and Zoe and things like that to
Yes.
go with them that matched. There were some very lovely combinations of, I don't know what they call it, where they have like 3 or 4, well, 3 trees, I guess, odd number of trees, on a stand and in relation to each other. And there were, some of those were very interesting. There were some great trees for sale if people were interested as far as stock trees. Neville had a fantastic one that went
For sale.
Yeah, no, it's very good. Yes.
Yeah, well, as I say, I think it's a very good show and worthwhile, and I'm disappointed that I didn't get there. I have a very lame excuse. My wife found out that I was going and that I was going to buy a tree, and so I wasn't allowed to go. But anyway. And there was a School of Bonsai Sales Day last Saturday, which I also hoped to get to and didn't, probably for the same reason. But I know some people here went. I know Ollie went. I'm sure that Simon went. Who else went? Was it good? Yeah, it's a sales day. It's not it's not a display day, but yeah, it's still good. I've been in the past and bought quite a few good things. It was run at the what's it called? It's West Pennant Hills. Donmore Centre. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we had the address in our newsletter of where it was on at. Just a few reminders. The National Convention is on this weekend, and I know some people are going to it. I'm going. Brian's going. Anybody else going? Okay, great. I'll see you there. It's in Canberra. It circulates around Australia. Last year it was in Brisbane. The year before in Perth. So I found, because it's easy to get to Canberra, I thought it was worthwhile going. It should be very good. There's a pretty good program lined up. We've also got Bonsai by the Harbour in early June. There's notices in the newsletter, and I've been to the last couple, and I haven't enrolled yet, but I intend to, because it's always a good show, particularly good for workshops and speakers. At our June meeting, our next meeting, Ollie is organising a special Trident Maple group planting, and I'll let Ollie talk about it.
Sure. So basically, sort of have user paid or is it club paid?
Sorry?
Is it user paid or club paid?
I thought it was user paid.
So basically, it's sort of anyone that wants to do it. I just need to get stock numbers. So if you can let me know tonight, preferably. But basically what it is you get 10 Trident maples. Now this is a Jaff maple, which is probably not great for Sydney for most of you. I live in a cooler climate, so it's okay. But Trident maples are generally okay in Sydney. You just got to keep them out of the really hot winds. So what you do is you basically get 10 plants, tie them at the bottom, plant them for a year or so. After the year, you take that tie off if it's fused, and essentially you fuse all those plants into one. And you can either do a clump style where you've got 10 trunks all coming from one spot, or you can actually wire all 10 together and they can fuse as one trunk, if that makes sense. So you can basically, instead of putting one plant and waiting 5 years for it to thicken up, you can essentially do it in 20% of the time by fusing them together. The downside of how I'm doing it is that the best way to do it is you do it from a cutting from the same plant, because then you get the exact same leaf morphology. Whereas when I do it, I just buy 10 plants from my supplier, and you might have a little bit of genetic variation. So yeah, basically it'll probably be $1 a plant, so $10 for plants. I'll probably buy all the pots and soil and everything that everyone needs, so it might be $15 to $20. If you bring $20, then I can sort of work out the numbers there. If you're interested, we're going to do it next month, because my supplier is going to drop it off on the weekend before our next meeting. I'll hopefully keep plants alive till then.
So you need to know numbers tonight.
Yeah, I need to know numbers tonight. Yeah, it won't be more than $20 a head. So usually what you do is you fuse 10, 11 plants together, and then 7 or 8 of those might survive. You might have a few die, but you don't want to do 5 and then 3 die and you've got 2 left. Doesn't really work. So
Do you spray the side on?
no, just time together. So this is what I've done here. If this was middle of winter, I'd take it out of the pot. But basically, beneath the soil, it's tied with a wire and some like tubing, so it doesn't bite in too hard. You can either do it that way, or you can actually just do it with like a zip tie or actual wire and get it to ground layer above that. That's another option. So what we'll do is, based on what people want to try, I'm happy to sort of take them through. But yeah, it won't be more than $20 if you want to do it. And I'm going to get some excess plants, and if it doesn't get used, I'll do it myself.
So you're,
Is that the meeting?
This will be at the meeting.
At the meeting.
Yeah, correct.
and you're suggesting you run a workshops sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll just do it in the meeting. And you don't have to do it, there's no pressure. So I might do it on one side and everyone else does their own thing or whatever.
But in order to order the right number of plants, you
I
need
need to
an
know.
indication of how many people are prepared to spend, say, $20 to get a group of 10 or so.
Yeah, and
Trident
it'll
maples.
basically go into a colander with soil. So I'll look after everything. You don't have to worry about any of the materials. So, and there's no profit from mine. It's just
Okay, well, I'm interested for one.
so yeah, if anyone, so we'll go
Will you count?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, I'll go like 15 and then
Okay.
we'll work out from there.
It'd be,
Thank you. Sorry?
would it be worthwhile, you don't wait till the next newsletter, would it be worthwhile sending an email around or a bulletin?
Well,
I can. It's more just like it's short notice.
Oh,
right?
right.
So like I'd rather just.
Don't
We've
worry.
got 12 tonight. If I go 15 or 16, then we should,
Okay.
yeah, we should cover anyone else who wants to do it. Sorry. No, it's a trident maple. Yeah. So the good thing as well is if anyone's sort of more of a beginner, they're pretty hardy plants. They do drink a lot of water. They can be quite thirsty. But you know, even if you burn all the leaves off and left with nothing, it'll probably still survive. Yeah. Anyway, that's really it. So if you put your hand up, you can bring $20 or we can transfer on the night or something. It's totally at cost. I'm not making any money out of this. By the way. So, anyway. Trident maple. Yeah, I can send it if you're really interested. I can show you a YouTube video tonight of the process. I've definitely copied the process off someone. Anyway.
okay. Thanks, Ollie.
Thank you, Ollie.
Now, I mentioned last time that our past member, Brian Silver, now lives at Mount Wilson and has something like 5 acres with lots of seedlings from trees. Many of them are maples, Japanese maples, but many other species, and has offered for us to go up. Last meeting I got a show of hands and there were about 10 people, I think, interested. We'll go up on a Sunday and I suggested to Brian Silver, is his name, to Brian a date so that we could start to plant it. I've suggested Sunday, August the 3rd, which is both a good time for Yamadori, because it's at the right time to dig trees up, and that suits Brian quite well. So we're suggesting we make a day of it, get up there around 10ish, do some digging. You need to take all your own tools and equipment. I haven't been there, so I don't know, but he reckons that there are trees ranging from 1 year seedlings up to 3 or 4 or older trees, and there are so many that he doesn't mind how many we take. All we have to do is be respectful of not making too much of a mess, I suppose, and leaving it pretty well. And they'd probably take a picnic lunch and have a picnic on his property. Sounds good, and provided it's not raining that day, it should be quite nice. It'll still be quite cold up there in August, but you know we should be able to make a day of it. I'll notify you more about the details before then, but I just wanted to give advance warning that that's August the 3rd. And we also, I announced last time, a workshop by Scott Martin, who gave a workshop last year. He's agreed to do another one, and we had such a good response to it, because what we were hoping to do is a workshop for about 8 people for about 3 or 4 hours, so that he spends time with each person, not just one time, but goes around with you working on styling your tree that you bring. So it requires that you have a tree worthy of being styled by a master. Scott at the moment is an international master. He's in Italy, of all things. I sent him an email and got one back saying, I'm sorry I didn't respond straight away, I'm in Italy. He's a very well-known Australian bonsai artist. Because it was so popular, I went back and said, would you be able to do 2 workshops, one on the Saturday and one on the Sunday? And he said, provided it's early on the Saturday and the Sunday, and because of the hall availability, fortunately it is. So it'll be in the morning of both Saturday and Sunday on the 18th and 19th of October. Now that's a fair bit of warning, and we've already had a number of people indicate their interest. If you are interested, make sure you get a note to me or Ollie or one of the committee members just letting us know that you are interested on either the Saturday and the Sunday. Okay? That will, sorry?
There's about 3 spots left.
Okay. Ollie's got the attendance sheet, so if you're interested, see Ollie. That will be about a $50 a head cost per person. But considering what you get for it, we think that's really good value. Our AGM is due to be in July, so I'm giving you 2 months warning. I've made this announcement numerous times. I've invited people onto the committee, and we've had a few people join the committee. At the AGM, the rules of the club are that the current committee resigns and we re-elect it. Over the since I've been in the club for about 15 years, it's been the same people every year resign and then rejoin. It would be nice to have some new blood. And the reason I'm telling you 2 months ahead is that if you think you might be interested in joining the committee, you've got to be a member, but I would invite you to come along to the next committee meeting. We meet as a committee on the 4th Tuesday of each month. So the next committee meeting is in 2 weeks' time tonight. We meet at the Penshurst RSL, scrub that. We meet at the Petersham RSL, which is where we used to meet. So some of you will know where that is. So if you think you might be interested in joining the committee, come along as an observer to the next committee meeting and see how incompetent we are, and you might be encouraged to join and do something about it. Don't say you weren't warned. Okay. There's still quite a few pots and things available on the swap table. I was saying to the beginning class, I don't think we use the swap table properly. For a start, we've called it a swap table for years, but I've never seen anybody swap anything. And yet the opportunity to get rid of something that you're getting a bit sick of because for the last 5 years it hasn't done what you wanted it to do, and give it to somebody else who sees the opportunity of what you're missing, I think there's more of that. So I would encourage people to get a bit more involved in the swap table. Don't treat it as just a way to get rid of something that you didn't want anymore. So that's the swap table, and as I said, there are lots of pots and things. Alex, where's Alex?
Yeah, Alex.
Alec?
Yes. Pots.
Yeah, you wanted some pots. They're earmarked for you over there. Next meeting is June the 10th. Make sure you've signed the attendance book for your eligibility to win a Lucky Door prize, which again this month is a book. We're running out of books, so pretty soon we're going to be finding other things. Tonight's meeting, the display trees, the theme was autumn colour. It's a bit earlier, I think, in Sydney to get too much autumn colour. Nevertheless, that's the theme. Up until now, what we've done with display trees is get whoever put the tree up to come and talk a bit about their own tree. For some time we've been talking about treating it a bit more like a professional, not a competition, but a professional display, and having somebody make some professional comment about the tree. Now, we've talked about it for as long as I can remember, about 2 years, but we haven't done it. So tonight's the first night we're going to do it. And Brian has kindly volunteered to be the first judge to do it. So at some point in time when I've stopped talking, we'll get Brian to do it. I'll just finish the next couple of things. There was to be, if you read the newsletter, there was to be a presentation on horticulture. And that came about because some of the committee members said, I wouldn't mind somebody who knows what they're talking about coming along and talking to us about horticulture and tree biology. Now we actually tried to find somebody, and we thought we had somebody, but they weren't able to make it tonight. So what I wanted was an indication from how many people would be interested in such a subject, tree horticulture. Okay, that's enough. That's more than enough. We'll see what we can do. Either to get, we'll see what we can do, but it won't be tonight. David has suggested another thing which he's calling a work in progress table. David, do you want to speak about it?
Okay, anyone's wondering about whether or not I'd like to speak. I had an idea. I have lots of ideas. Most of them are really crappy. This one may well be too. What I thought was, particularly for newcomers, is that it might be useful to have, rather than the display trees all in pots, all nice and beautiful, have an opportunity for people to see trees that are actually just being developed. So what I've done is, you'll see the WIP sign there, which I commissioned today at great cost. It cost me about $15 in blue ink, I reckon. And the idea is just, we'll have the table over there, people can put a tree down there. The idea is it's not like juniper down there that's being worked on right at the moment. It's something where it's sort of in the middle, you've got it in a pot, it can be in a bonsai pot, it can be in a training pot, but it's just sitting there. And I thought it was a way of showing, particularly for newcomers, of being able to see where a tree can sit, because one of the big daunting things is, you start off with something and you say, right, you're going to turn this into a beautiful bonsai, and you do all this sort of stuff. But you don't really get a feel for that until you've done it. But I think this is a way of being able to say, here's something that's just sitting there. The idea is it's not going to be talked about in the meeting, but if you want to talk about it, you can grab the person who has put it up there, who will have their name on the pot, like I haven't, but it's mine, okay, so you know whose it is. And it's just a matter of saying, this is what it is. And the idea is that people can bring it back. Like with this one, I might bring it back in 6 months' time. You can see more development. And then eventually, maybe in 12 months' time, it'll be in a bonsai pot and I can put it up here. But it's just to get an idea of that transition period between trees that are brand new sticks right through to bonsais. It's also an opportunity for people who've got stuff that's in development. I've got a exposed root hibiscus that I'm going to bring in one day, because I think there'll be some people who'll be interested in that as well. Particularly since it's actually going to be 2 trees combined. They're both grown from cuttings. And I've got a few other bits and pieces that I think are interesting. I was just showing Neville some photos of things that I dug out of the garden that had grown through the bottom of the pot, and I discovered some really crazy shit. So anyway, it's just an idea.
So in future meetings, anybody who wants to can bring a tree and put it there to show the stage that the tree is at. And it's not, they don't have to talk about it, but the idea
people
is...
People can come up and say, what's going
questions.
on here, and you can say, this is what's going on. Because you may well find it's an opportunity also, like I'm deliberately picking out stuff that is not a traditional bonsai. Or if I do find something that could be a traditional bonsai, I've got a Morea, but I don't think I can get it in here because it's that tall. But it's got a lot of dead wood on it now. Where's Simon? It's got a lot of gins, really big ones. Like they're about that long.
Okay.
How big are your gins, Simon?
Thank you, David. I think it's a really interesting idea, so we'll see how much interest it gets over the months. Not everybody here is in our club Facebook page, and there is no requirement to join the club page. It was there I created it about 3 or 4 years ago, probably because of COVID, I guess, as another way of communicating. But it's proven to be a rather useful mechanism for asking questions between meetings and, you know, sort of carrying on a conversation between meetings. Daniel raised an interesting question through the month, which was who uses apps on their phone to keep tabs on their bonsais? Now, some of you who were here about 12 months ago, I gave a presentation on that subject, and so I didn't want to repeat that. So I've given Daniel a copy of that presentation. I'm happy to go through it with him. But if anybody here, well, let me ask, how many people use an app on their phone to keep tabs on their... Because I thought Daniel might, take the opportunity to get with you during the meeting and get your comments and advice for a person who's about to start using it. I think you're using Bonsai Album. Is that what?
Not using it at the moment, no.
Oh, you haven't bought it yet?
No.
Okay. Oh, all the more reason to talk to people.
Yeah.
Okay. So Daniel might come and ask you questions afterwards. Now, I mentioned about Brian doing an evaluation of the trees. Why don't we do that next? And then after that, we can just break off into the workshop part of the meeting. Okay?
Okay. I'm not going to judge the trees. What I'm going to do is offer my opinion, and that's not necessarily the correct opinion. That's not necessarily, it's one view of everything. And what you have to remember is with bonsai, they're your trees. You're the one that puts the care into them. You're going to be the one that ultimately has to live with them. And I guess what I'm trying to do is have a look at them and just offer some ideas and an overview from, I guess, my thing. So please, don't get angry or anything. don't hang the messenger here.
One throw big stones.
Okay, let me start, I guess, with this one. As far as a display, it's very lovely. I love the scattered leaves at the base. It's a fall, it's got color. Is it some sort of fruit? Sorry? Crepe myrtle. Okay, that's where you get the bark. Okay, which is another thing. The bark on the trees is lovely. I mean, it being a crepe myrtle, it gets almost a translucent bark and beautiful colors in it, and that, especially when it's wet. But it has beautiful balance. It grows up, cuts back. What I look for in a bonsai tree is something that looks, it may have a slant to it and that, but it looks like it's structurally able to hold itself in place. And this comes up here. It's got a large root here coming out, which then looks like it's holding it in the pot, which allows it to come out here, and then it kind of comes back and that, which is very lovely. The pot and the tree is an interesting shade. It's picking up a bit of the color of the leaves. I might go a little bit warmer in color with the pot, but I mean, it's very, it's very close, but just your yellow leaves are almost like a reddish orange, and so you could actually go just a little bit warmer. This has got like a purplish tinge, which is not bad, but possibly, I'm trying to find a minor fault, or at least a fault in it, okay? The open hole in the trunk is great. It gives it interest. Both the knot here and the that there. I guess I would look to work on ramification, but that just comes with age and that. And once it loses its leaves, you'll probably do a bit of wiring and that, just to kind of differentiate some of the paths. And it's got great taper. It's interesting. It's a great tree. Next tree needs a little development, but it has. Let's see. Interesting trunk movement in it. I guess I'd grow it on and probably put it in a bigger pot. It doesn't have, a huge amount of soil. It's not going to grow really fast, I don't think, in the pot that it's in. At least if you want to get to thicken up the trunk a bit. But it's a great starter plant. I maybe look to wire the trunk a bit to extend and accentuate the curves and movement in it. Yeah.
What species is it?
It's a trident maple.
Well, I think it's a liquid amber.
Is it?
I've had it for about 8 years, so it's a bit of a decision one. It came up out of the gutter and the roof.
Oh,
Stored
okay.
in a pot. I thought it was a maple as well at first, but I'm pretty sure we got these liquid embers out on the front street.
It could be.
So, but I picked it mainly just because it was the most beautiful colour I've got at the moment.
Yeah,
I've
well, it's
got
got-
still green, or
Yeah.
I've got some they've already dropped their leaves. But this one, it's just been sitting there doing nothing for
Yeah.
years. But again, another shade, a little rose style. I haven't
Yeah.
done with it, obviously.
But I guess I'd up pot it just to give it more room to grow and develop and that. But it's a great start, and it does have lovely color. The next one. Let me see. What? Can I ask what type or what tree it is? What?
Christmas bush.
It is a Christmas wood. Ah, okay. That's why it's getting a little bit of color on the leaves. Yeah. It has great movement. It has the roots the nabari are great. I guess I would look to, when I repotted it, to kind of some of the roots are crossed and things like that, just to try and separate out.
Yeah.
But no, it looks really great. The pot it's in is probably a little bit big for what it is, but that said, if you're growing it on for development and that, having it in too big a pot's probably better than having it in too small. I mean, having it in, it's like this pot here with the soil here, it's going to grow much slower than, having it in a big pot.
How many times have you repotted it?
Once.
How long ago was that?
It was in a colander. It looks better in that.
Counting down. I don't know how many repots you've got.
Yeah, just one.
And yeah, I mean, and I guess as you grow it on, I'd look to develop the pads a bit, but all of that, it's just for the stage of plant, the stage of growth that it's in, it's great. Trident maple, then this one. Not a liquid amber, trident maple. Okay, anyway, root over rock, fantastic tightness between the root and the rock. If you can have a look at it later, there's no space at all between the root and the rock. It's also the placement of the tree is great because it's not right on top of the rock, it's on the side, and so it is, kind of as far as style, it's great. I guess I would consider tipping it back a little bit when I repotted it, just a little bit, mainly because the rock's coming forward and the tree is coming really forward. And if you just tip it, you want the tree to come forward a bit. It's welcoming, but I think you could get away with tipping the whole thing back just a little bit when you repot it. Nice taper. Nice balance. I'd consider removing the snail that's on the branch. It lives there. Yeah, it's part of the tree, I know. And working on branch development again, kind of the ramification of the branches. But it, again, fantastic. And it is a great root over rock. The next one is a lovely mame. Great synthesis between the green and the pot. It's, great size pot for the tree. It's a lovely little thing. It has some great, the flowers, lovely. I might look at wiring slightly just to add a little bit of movement to the branchings, but and work on, again, pad development. But again, for the stage of development, the stage of growth that it is, it's fantastic. Next one is Japanese maple, or is it?
Japanese maple.
Yeah. Okay. Great taper between the bottom and the top. Nice balance. It does have a bit of a Z outlook, but I don't mind that. It's been trimmed back, and it will have, when it buds out, a lot of ramification and that, so it'll look stunning when it buds out. Let's see. The balance is great. It has good branch spacing between the different branches, and you can really see that now that it's, it doesn't have the leaves. The only thing I would consider is possibly a lower stand. I like the stand, but I just from a distance, it just looked a little bit, just a slightly lower, maybe an inch lower or something on the stand. But again, that's I'm not sure what the thing is. But if you look at it, the ramification is stunning. It does have a little bit of wire cut in, a lot less than mine, so I can't say anything too negative about it. And it looks to be actually growing out, so I think you're going to eventually possibly even lose it. And you won't see that once it leaves out, so that's, but the bark on it is stunning. It's got a beautiful gray aged look. It's starting to really develop some texture in here. It's, yeah, coming up. It's got some nice movement in it. It's a beautiful tree. That's it. Hey, comments?
I'm sure you'll all agree that it's not that easy to stand up in front of colleagues and do an evaluation as objectively as you can. I think that's set a really high standard for the next few months. Thank you, Brian. Just before we get back into the workshop, make sure you've signed the attendance book so that you can be part of the Lucky Door Prize. Well, not you personally, but you know what I mean. And I was going to say, some people I think must have taken their name cards home with them, which you're welcome to do, but it puts the onus on you to bring it back. And yes, I can see that you've brought it back. Thank you. I'm not worried about losing name cards. I'm just worried about you not having one next time. Anyway, happy workshopping, and see you around the rest of the week, rest of the meeting.
I think he was doing sort of things like that, you know what I mean?
What can you tell us about what you're doing, James?
This called Bonsai. Just that.
Could we have more? Could we have more information, please? The plants.
Yeah.
You're wiring
It's
it.
ivy.
You're wiring it to buggery. It's going to
Well,
choke.
actually, I pruned it to buggery.
Yeah. It's going to choke from all the wiring.
Yeah, I know.
Will it make it through the winter?
So this is
Will we see it next year?
an ivy.
Oh, that's that ivy.
Yeah.
How old is it?
Hasn't got your kindergarten yet.
Pulled out rather wide.
Shortly.
Have you seen the picture of the large show?
The difference once you can see it.
I didn't know they had it.
We reckon. Go with that. Go with that side. No, that wouldn't be for Australia. But it's like Australia.
Oh, looking from here.
Well, Jim all the big top men go with that side.
Lewis did this.
Oh, like keep that as the AV.
Why is it really young? So I had
He's keeping that.